Hello and welcome to the channel where we talk about all things card games and chill with friends. My name is Liam and today I want to showcase my take on the Shion deck for the new set. Now if you are new to the channel, please consider hitting that subscribe button, and if you enjoy what we do here, please let me know by hitting that like button, and please consider becoming a member by hitting that join button down below. And check out my other socials on Twitch, on X, and on Discord. Those links are in the description. But let's jump straight in. So now we've had more releases from the second set of Hololive OCG Quintet Spectrum. But another character that's really sparked my interest after a bit of testing is Shion and her versatility with the magic cards and what I consider to be a rather powerful control deck. And of course, with all of these videos, I'm interested to hear your thoughts. Now, obviously, bear in mind, this is a build without the full set release for set 2. So there could be some new cards that come in, especially looking at the support cards. But as it stands today, the 25th of November, this is the build I've gone for, and I want to share it with you guys. But without further ado, let's jump into the deck profile. Starting, of course, with our Oshi Murasaki Shion. She has 5 life and is a purple Oshi and has the following 2 effects. Her Oshi skill is for 1 holo power. When one of your Shions has an effect, either an art or ability, that rolls a die, you may pay the cost once per turn in order to re-roll that die. And her SP skill is for 2 holo power, where once per game, when your purple center holo mem uses an art, you may pay the cost, and if you do, deal 50 damage for each cheer on your opponent's center holomem to their center holomem. So this is kind of good, and it basically helps guarantee a free kill. You can basically attack into the collab and go, oh, I'm just going to kill your center as well because of this. And there's a lot of cheer manipulation that you can do, basically, in order to guarantee a maximum output from this card. I think it's a really nice Oshi. It's not incredible, but it's the deck that makes the card work. But that is your Oshi for this deck. And of course, because it's a mono purple deck, we are just running 20 purple cheers. Moving on to the debuts, we have 6 copies of the Unlimited Shion. She has a 1 colorless cheer 20 damage art, but has 130 health, which for a debut holomem is kind of chunky. So really love this card. And we also have 2 copies of the collab Shion. Her skill is on collab, you may roll a die, and if that is a 4 or greater, you may search your deck for a magic trait card. So that can be one of your items, basically, because the Shions themselves don't have the magic trait. It's the support cards that do, which is quite an interesting design choice, but it also means that, you know, you can't abuse this card, for example, to just grab any of your Shions, which would be kind of nuts. They could have then made it, say, a support card with the magic trait and given it so that she does have the magic trait, but, you know, design thought. Moving on to our second holomem for this deck, we run 4 copies of the Unlimited Choco from the start deck, 30 HP colorless cheer, and 100 HP. Kind of good, you know, it's a pretty standard, like, power ratio debut Unlimited. But we then also run 2 copies of the Draw collab Choco. So on collab, if your Oshi holomem is purple, you may draw a card, and it has a 1 purple, 1 colorless, 30 damage art. Good card is good. 60 HP makes it a bit squishy, sure, but the fact you're guaranteed a draw when you collab with this is just really nice. Moving on to our first blooms, we have 4 copies of the Idol Outfit Shion. On bloom, you may look at the top 3 cards of your deck, choose a purple or blue holomem amongst those, reveal it to your opponent, add it to your hand, and put the rest to the bottom of your deck in any order, and a 1 colorless cheer 40 damage art and 130 HP, same as the debut. So you'll notice that from debut to first, there isn't really a change in the HP in most of the first bloom. There is one that does gain a bit of a buff, but yeah, it's a pretty standard, you know, you play the card, you get a card back, you're maintaining hand size. Good card is good. You also run 3 copies, and I was contemplating playing 4 of this, of the other Bloom Effect Shion. On Bloom, you may get a magic trait card from your archive back to your hand, and for two purple cheer for 30 damage art, and then it's this effect, which is really important. When you use this card art, you roll a die. If that result is a 5 or higher, choose one of your opponent's Holomem with a cheer on it and move that cheer to another one of your Holomems, your opponent's Holomems. This card is rather nice, and this is basically where the control element comes in for this deck, because you are controlling where your opponent's cheers are, and as a result of that, basically stopping them using any of their arts. If you can stack all the cheers onto, say, a spot Holomem where they only need 1 or 2 cheers to do their thing, but if you keep going, oh, now it's got 3, oh, by the way, now you've got 4 on it, it just means that those cheers are stuck on that Holomem and they're not doing anything of value. So that is one way that you can control with this deck, and this card is really, really nice in my opinion. And like I said, I did want to run it as a 4 of. I think 3 is fine. I think I've got enough ways of getting to it. And the final Shion First Bloom that we run is just her vanilla. We run 1 copy of it. It's 170 HP, which for a First Bloom Holomem, kind of beefy. And then it's got 2 arts, one for 1 colorless cheer for 30 damage, and then a 1 purple, 1 colorless cheer for 60 damage. So again, it's got a decent damage output as well. Yeah, this card is kind of nice. And the final First Bloom that we run are 4 copies of the Idol Outfit Choco. On Blue, you get to search your archive a non-limited event card and add it back to your hand. So again, maintaining that hand size, especially when you're going to be using your magic cards and other events in this deck. And also for 2 colorless cheer for 30 damage, and also heal 20 to one of your back Holomems. Good card is kind of good. It's squishy. It's 110 HP for a first debut, so it's a little squishy, but it's a really solid card. It replaces itself. It lets you recycle your magic cards and other events that we got in the deck, which you'll see later. And finally, moving on to our second blooms, we run 4 copies of the second bloom Shion. On Bloom, you may roll a die, and if that result is a 4 or greater, move 1 cheer from one of your opponent's Holomems to another Holomem. Again, controlling the board with where you've got the Holomem. So what you could do is use the first bloom to move it onto something that's useless, and then use the second bloom to move it onto something that's important or like that's doing quite well in the center slot, and then you get to deal loads of damage, one with the Oshi skill, but also with her arts for 2 purple and 1 colorless cheer. 80 damage with a plus 50 to green Holomems, and has the skill, when you use this art, you may deal 20 damage each cheer on your opponent's center Holomem to their center Holomem and their collab Holomem. So this, in reality, if you can make it so that their center Holomem has 3 to 4 cheer, you can do obviously 80 damage from the main attack. You then get 80 damage from its effect of the art to the center and the collab, and then you could do another up to 200 damage to your center. So what I would do is target the collab for the attack, so for the main 80 damage base, then it will do 80 damage to the collab and the center, and then you'll do 200 damage with the SP Oshi skill. So you are killing that center, and you're probably going to kill the collab as well. So this is going to be a 2, if not 3 life card win, because if your opponent's center Holomem is a buzz and their collab is a normal, that's 3 life you're going to be taking. So this card can just do a lot of damage with combination of the Oshi in a single turn, which is kind of terrifying. And the final second we run 1 copy of the Choco second. She has 190 HP, 2 attacks, again advantage to green, for 1 purple, 1 colorless, 50 damage. And for 2 purple, 1 colorless, 60 plus, where for each event that you've played this turn, this art does an additional 40 damage. So again, if you get to a point where you have 2 or 3 magic cards in your hand and another event in your hand, you can play 2, 3, 4 events in one turn. This card is going to be doing 60 plus 100 plus 40 to 120. So you're looking at doing what, 100 to 180 damage in one swing. Again, this could be enough just to end the game. Now, I was contemplating not even running this and just focusing on the Shion. That was a massive contemplation. But first of all, if you've got the Choco line, you may as well run it as a one-off, because it gives you an alternate like attack engine. But also, again, sometimes the Shions aren't doing enough with their base and you end up stacking events in hand, and this just does a really big swing in one go if you're able to. So it's nice to have. I don't think it's 100% necessary, and if anything, I'd actually potentially change some of the Choco line and maybe not be so reliant on it, like maybe drop some of the debut unlimited, maybe drop 1 or 2 of this, the idol first, and maybe drop the second so that you can prioritize more on the Shion line. But I wanted to run a bit more of a mix with the Choco line. But that is something, again, if you think that you're better off focusing on the Shion line, let me know in the comments below. But I quite like having the Choco line in there myself. That's just my own personal thoughts. Moving on to the support cards, we have our first magic card, Shion's Hat. This card is, to play this card, you must pay a holo power, and then you may get a purple cheer from your archive and attach it to one of your holomems. So if you do lose holomems throughout the game and you get those cheers into your archive, this is a fantastic way of recycling those. And for only 1 holo power, when your Oshi skills aren't expensive, this is kind of fine. You don't mind paying that 1 holo power. The other event that we run in this deck, and the important thing as well, this is an event card. And another event card is Choco's Armor Rice. We run 2 copies of that. So when you play this, you choose one of your holomems and it heals 20 HP. And also, if that holomem has the cooking trait, its art does 20 damage for the turn. So this is another reason why I want to run the Choco line. So if you end up going, oh, okay, I've got the Choco, I can heal it down. I can also give it extra damage, and also because I played a event, it does even more damage. Kind of nice. So yes, it's a really nice way of using this card, and it's a really good event to be able to recycle. We also run 1 copy of Shion's Wand, the tool. So the holomem that this card is attached to gains 10 power to their art, and if it is attached to a first bloom or higher Shion, it gains the following effect. As long as this tool is in play, the Shion's first Oshi skill, instead of it being once per turn, it now becomes twice per turn. So you can double down on the rerolls if you need to, so increasing your chances of hitting that 5 or higher for your first bloom Shion, or the 4 or higher for the second bloom. So this card is kind of nice. You only need 1 of it, because once you've got it down, basically that holomem, you just keep it in the back row, you do not let it go into the front row, and you just leave it there. You might run a second of it as a backup plan in case they you're the enemy, your holomem, and actually take down the wand, but it's not the end of the world at the end of the day. You're running it to basically increase your count for your Oshi skill, not so much for the extra damage to the arts, and it isn't 100% essential. It's just a nice to have, which I think why as a one-off it's absolutely fine. Moving on to our more generic supports, we've got 3 copies of Ordinary PC. Search your deck for a debut holomem, reveal it to your opponent, and play it to your stage. We also run 3 copies of So You're the Enemy as a limited event, and yes, it is an event, so it does buff your second Choco, but also this card is so important because you can, again, move all your opponent's cheers around to a backstage holomem. Cool. Then you go, oh, okay, I really want to kill that and something else. So I'm going to use So You're the Enemy to drag that holomem up. So it's got a holomem with 3+ cheers sitting there in the center stage. And you go, fantastic, here comes my second Shion. I'm doing 60 damage to your collab and your center, and also then the 80 damage on top of that. And then whatever you decide to do with your collab slot as well. So You're the Enemy is really important for this deck, and you could be okay with 2 of it, but because you can't grab this from the first bloom Choco, because it has to be non-limited, I've run it as a 3 of because it is just so vital to see it, especially mid to end game. The other limiteds we run 4 copies of the Nodika, draw 3 cards, and we run 3 copies of the Manechan, shuffle hand back into your deck and draw 5 new cards, and you have to have another card in your hand other than this card in order to play it. And that's the deck. I think it's a really solid control build, and there's a few ratios that could be played around with, sure, and I'll be interested to hear your thoughts. But that is it for this deck profile. Thank you so much for watching. Again, if you are new here, please consider hitting that subscribe button, and if you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button and let me know. And if you want to support the channel by any means, please consider hitting that join button and becoming a member of the channel. And check out the other socials on Twitch, on X, and on Discord. Those links are down in the description. But apart from that, thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.